we call it hunting, right?
Mm-hmm.
It could be hunting, it could be fishing. I don't know how much people realize, but they're like, oh, you hunt, you go, you get a deer, you come home. That's not how it works.
Right.
Or you pay to go on a boat and you go out and you get your fish and you come home. Doesn't always work out that way.
Nope.
Many times you go out and you come home with nothing.
Yep.
And that's just part of the game.
And it was expensive.
Yes, yeah, and you don't get a refund.
Yeah.
So I think that, people really need to think about that in their businesses, because you hear that a lot, right?
Right.
Oh, that doesn't work. Well, what'd you do? Well, I sent out 200 flyers after that last listing. I didn't hear anything back. Does that mean it doesn't work, or maybe we haven't put in enough effort or enough
Exactly.
repetition?
Today's topic, hunter versus order takers, kind of okay. So let's define that.
Okay.
I have my thought process of what it is, but let me hear what your thought process is.
Order takers is sitting around and taking what you get.
Okay,
Hunter is saying, this is what I want. I'm going to go out and find it.
there we go. Okay, so similar, proactive versus reactive.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah,
very much so.
that so often, so many people in the industry, and so many times when we're having conversations, everybody's reactive to everything that's going on instead of being proactive. And that's everything from being proactive in how you approach an open house can yield results that are way better than, hey, you know what, let me get the signs up, let me show up 10 minutes before, turn on the lights and see who shows up.
Yes.
Versus what are all the steps and things that we're doing to proactively make sure we're getting people into that open house. Night and day.
Yeah.
And
The one that frustrates me is, I got a buyer and there's nothing in the MLS form.
perfect. Those are my favorite.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the extent of your search, is the MLS?
Yep.
That's an order taker. A hunter is, how can I find that property my client needs?
Yep.
Getting creative, and getting out there and pounding the pavement.
This just was last week, we were talking about this, where they called one of our agents up and said, is this really true that you've got somebody that might be interested in my house, or are you just saying this? They got the phone call, they got the appointment, and ended up securing the listing. It was true, they did have a client that was looking for something like that, but bottom line was, the phone call came because they were being proactive in what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And what was interesting about that was that particular agent, it wasn't just a one and done. It wasn't just a mail campaign or something like that. There was like 5 pieces that went out specifically. There was phone calls that were being made. So this person heard it more than once, that there must really be something here. So, because if it would have just been once, they probably would have never got that
Yeah.
call. So,
Let's fly by.
yeah, so proactive
Yeah.
yields results.
I think one of the objections to it, or why people are like, we call it hunting, right?
Mm-hmm.
It could be hunting, it could be fishing. I don't know how much people realize, but they're like, oh, you hunt, you go, you get a deer, you come home. That's not how it works.
Right.
Or you pay to go on a boat and you go out and you get your fish and you come home. Doesn't always work out that way.
Nope.
Many times you go out and you come home with nothing.
Yep.
And that's just part of the game.
And it was expensive.
Yes, yeah, and you don't get a refund.
Yeah.
So I think that, people really need to think about that in their businesses, because you hear that a lot, right?
Right.
Oh, that doesn't work. Well, what'd you do? Well, I sent out 200 flyers after that last listing. I didn't hear anything back. Okay. Does that mean it doesn't work, or maybe we haven't put in enough effort or enough
Exactly.
repetition, because we know there's something there.
Exactly.
But if it was as easy as doing one thing and you got a return every time, we would not be a 1099 business, right?
Right.
We'd probably be employees of someone else.
Right.
And making money.
So why do you think, I don't know, maybe it's whatchamacallit. I was going to ask the question, why do you think so many people work or function from a reactive?
It's safe.
Very
It's-
safe.
You don't have to hear no,
Okay.
or rarely.
Right.
It's a sales point. It's not a marketing and a prospecting point. So that's where I think people get hung up.
I always get concerned because a lot of people unfortunately in our business function from that perspective. And then we see it too often that, hey, I'm just struggling, I can't make it in this business, and aren't able to put the 2 and 2 together that this is never going to change until this part changes. And, sometimes it's sad, and maybe this isn't the business for you if you're going to remain in a reactive. Now, don't get me wrong, you can be in a reactive way in this business, but I really wouldn't define it as a reactive way, because you're gonna be putting out a lot of dollars in marketing or something like that, or whatever it is that you're putting that message out somehow, because you're not going proactive belly to belly, you're kind of going around the situation. There's gonna be a whole lot more effort put in that way. And, you know, your ROI on that's gonna be a lot lower, but it's
Like a
doable.
marketing versus a direct prospecting.
Exactly. Yeah, you can throw all the flyers you want in the mailbox. You'll be more successful if you can get belly to belly with somebody, or in person, or on the phone, or start those conversations and that communication directly.
Yep.
So versus them actually reaching you.
It's like farming. I was out there farming one time, putting out my flyers. I put out, can't even tell you how many tens of thousands of flyers. And this truck comes up and pulls up right next to me as I'm walking down the street. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? Rolls down his window. He goes, "You Travis Barron?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "We're going to be selling our house. Give me your card." I was like, wow. Well, he didn't know I was Travis Barron because he got one flyer on his porch.
Right.
He knew it because of a litany of things I did around that brought the attention to me. And
Yep.
he probably saw the flyer and knew I was in the area and came out. But if I was just putting out those flyers, he probably would have stepped on it and gone about his day.
So I got the opposite. Just the other day was having a conversation and ended up securing a contract with these people, and they've been part of our marketing as far as in the mailbox for years. And after the contract was secured, a piece of mail went to them, and they called up and said, "Oh, it's funny, we didn't realize that this was."
You're like, ouch.
It was a big ouch, happened to, that having different marketing, different things marketing wise going out and stuff like that. But the door got opened in a different way to actually get in front of them. And it was because we were being proactive about something else. And
You were hunting.
Yeah, we were hunting, and we got in front of them and realized that for them, that marketing piece that's been in their mailbox for years.
They weren't the ones for it. There's definitely
No.
lots of people for that.
Correct.
But they're good at just ignoring that in a big way. So maybe people are able to do that.
There are a lot of people that are able to do that, because they, for us I feel like in our community, we'll see something in the mailbox, three times a week, 4 times a week from different agents and things like that. So you do become immune to it and just, don't pay attention to it, because
Oh, I do.
yeah.
I-
You pay
I-
attention.
oh,
Well,
yeah.
you're in the industry.
I pull them
Yeah.
all out. I look them up in the MLS. I'm like, what's this person dropping a flyer here for? Their office is way out in
Yeah.
Encino or something.
But you're in the industry, so I look at it from that perspective too. But there's so many people that
Yeah,
they don't
it's
need
just
us. It's
the
like,
non-interest. Well, they need us, just not right now.
So watch, I'll ask you this question. So you look at the real estate ones, there's other ones that come to your mailbox. Tell me about those.
Yeah,
You can't,
probably not a whole lot.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't either.
Windows and cleaners
Right.
and whatnot. No.
I can tell you what agents actually show up in my mailbox, but all the other solicitations I get, I can't tell you because I don't have a need for them at that particular time. So, yeah, I know I get cleaners, but I couldn't tell you what cleaner I get.
Yeah,
But, so.
I agree. They're not as committed as we are with the repetitiveness out there. I think that's probably one of the things. Actually, most of the people putting things on my porch don't have that commitment.
True.
It's like once and
And then it's done.
Who is this? And then I never
Right.
see him again.
That big old shotgun approach.
I'm trying to think how to bring this one thing in. You were talking about the business and how difficult it is,
Mm-hmm.
and how people are like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't realize this." I was trying to think about. Oh yeah, so this guy said something on Twitter, and I was like, okay. And I almost never use Twitter. I'm a voyeur on Twitter, right? But I was like, okay, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, this needs to be clarified. So I sent a response to him. I said, well, what time frame was that over? Because that'll make the information make a whole lot more sense. Well, this guy, apparently, that was a punch in the gut to this guy that he didn't want to hear. It was based on some sort of environmental thing about global warming or something.
Huh.
So he goes out and he investigates me, and he sends me back a response and is like, he's all, "Oh, well, who are you? A realtor, otherwise known as the industry that only people who can't get real jobs go into. And
Wow.
he just came after me in a big way. I was like, oh my God. But I was going to say, that's people's impression, right?
Right.
But it's the hardest job there is out there. It's insane.
It is extremely. I think that the job is actually conceptually easy and simple.
Yeah, I agree.
But it is hard. It is hard and it is difficult. It is, and I think that people they take that part of it, the simple part, because it's easy. We know exactly what to do and it's a simple process. But those things are not, they're difficult. They just are. They're hard. And I think that people don't put those two things together and they interchange those words and then all of a sudden it's all like, oh, what happened? And I go, huh. It's interesting. Was having a conversation just today. Interesting post. Somebody on Nextdoor took a picture of somebody's flyer that they left on the patio. Did you hear about this
No.
one? Okay, so they took a picture of somebody's flyer that they left on the patio and they just posted, is anybody else tired of getting these things? And can you imagine what
Almost blew up.
Oh, it totally blew up. But here was what I found fascinating by it. It started taking a turn from, yeah, these things have no value and they're always blah, 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 me the agent, blah, blah, blah. When was the last time you saw an agent put out a notepad or a scratch pad?
At my house?
Mm-hmm.
It's a rarity.
Okay. So here was what was interesting. That whole chain took a quick curveball or took a quick shift because somebody brought up, I miss notepads. And then all of a sudden it started going in, yeah, why don't they give us notepads anymore? And the only thing that they were providing of value and this and that. And okay, people, that was a learning lesson for me as well because I really didn't realize how many people actually gave value to the notepad.
Wow.
That has no marketing information on it, has got no, this is what your house is worth, the latest sale in the
Just a
community,
face
blah,
or
blah,
a
blah.
name, a telephone number.
Yep.
Maybe a web address. Well, that makes me feel good. I used to do those 4 times a year. I
Okay.
was the notepad guy.
So I thought it was interesting. So real estate agents, if you want to find out what your clients really want, just, hey, do that on the Nextdoor app.
Yeah.
Start the chain and see where it leads. But
I don't know if that's good advice or not, but that was an interesting experiment.
it was. I don't think it was an agent that had started that one. It was just a true consumer. But I found it interesting going through the comments, the direction that it went in.
Yeah.
But, so.
Well, maybe we should bring this back around to hunting versus order taker.
Absolutely.
Right? And so, got to go ahead and get it.
Yes. What does that look like? And one of our previous episodes, we were talking about time blocking, and you got to go out there and you've got to take the actions of doing the part of this business. It's just simple but difficult, that prospecting, whether it's the phone calls, whether it's the, door knocking, whether, whatever it is, however you're getting in front of people and having those conversations, you've got to come up with that system and come up with that way. Build that database and continue to be in front of it.
Hallelujah.
Gosh, I'm going to end on that. So, any questions, any comments, drop them down below in the comments. Greatly appreciate it. And like and subscribe.